Next, we will hear from Gina Cooper, Arnold Pearl, Jody Mahler, and Doreen Davis. You may proceed.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and speak with you today. I am Gina Cooper. I am the Director of the Professional and Industrial Organizing for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, AFL-CIO, and I have held that position since July of 2010. Prior to that, and for the last 27 years, I have worked in various capacities for the IBEW, representing and organizing workers in both the construction and the professional and industrial industries throughout the United States. And I have participated in numerous NLRB proceedings. In my current capacity, I receive reports on organizing campaigns conducted by local unions affiliated with the IBEW throughout the country. I am therefore very familiar with how the NLRB's representation case rules affect employees who want union representation. I know that employers will testify here that nothing is broken and that no changes are needed. They will likely remind you that the unions won 63% of all requests for certification resolved in fiscal 2013. I saw that number mentioned in employer flyers, and I found that 63% number startling because it does not fit at all with my experience. So I took some time and I looked it up. It turns out that the numbers aren't so good after all. In fiscal 2013, only 80,000 employees were deemed eligible even to vote in a board election. And only some lesser percentage of those employees actually achieved representation, as the 63% number tells us. I also checked out the number of unrepresented full-time employees in this country in 2013. And that number is 100 million or more. So what we're really talking about is that 80,000 employees out of a potential 100 million employees got to vote in fiscal 2013. And that percentage is so low, I don't even know how to say it. But it is written 0.0008. As we said in our written comments, this cannot be what Congress had in mind when it passed the Wagner Act. So how do we improve a process that clearly needs improving? One way is to stop the delay between the filing of a petition and the holding of an election. As everyone in this room is aware, the more delay, the less likely workers are to achieve representation. The board's proposal to defer litigation until after the election, where 20% or fewer potential unit employees remain at issue, promises to be one effective way to do this. But the IBEW would like the board to go further. We often encounter situations where the IBEW petitions for a physical production and maintenance unit, also called a P&M unit, which would be fair to describe as the employees that work in an industrial setting who do the dirty work. The board has held that P&M units in the utility industry are presumptively appropriate. Yet time after time, representation has been denied these P&M employees because their employer has insisted that their unit must also include every other statutorily eligible employee on the premises. This is what's known as a wall-to-wall unit. Wall-to-wall units are not presumptively appropriate in any industry as far as the IBEW knows. And they are definitely not presumed to be an appropriate unit in a utility industry. But the IBEW has been forced to spend exorbitant amounts of time and money because the board's present rules allow employers to litigate this wall-to-wall theory. This litigation drags on and can delay an election for years. The IBEW therefore urges the board to adopt its proposed 20% rule, but the union also asks the board to create an exception and permit the employer's proposed additions to a P&M unit to be litigated after the election. even if the additional inclusions are more than 20%. Therefore, the IBEW asks that you create this exception for situations where the unit sought is presumptively appropriate, and the employer insists that the unit has to be wall-to-wall. We feel that that is the best way for these workers to be assured of a fair and balanced election. Thank you.
I have a somewhat, actually, thank you. I have a somewhat related issue. There has been some suggestion in the comments that employees make their decision to vote based on whether their team leader is going to be in the unit or out of the unit. And I wondered what your experience is with that.
My experience is that employees are voting for union representation, and the unit issue never comes into their decision.
Sure, I have one quick follow-up. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Isn't part of what it seems to be driving your concern really delays inherent to the board itself in terms of getting out decisions on representation cases quickly? I mean, couldn't we solve a lot of this just by fast-tracking our cases, hiring more folks internally, treating this the way we would treat, say, Section 10L?
No, I don't believe that that would be the remedy.
Okay. Is there any part of this that you think the board could do better internally and satisfy at least some of your concerns?
I would say that I'll be here tomorrow. If you give me the evening to think about it, I'd be glad to bring that back and take up another good 10 minutes.
Sure, just give me the secret signal to ask the same question
Okay.
again.
We'll do.
She could do her own notice of proposed
There you go.
rule.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much.